Now in this video I'll be comparing the Shozy Pola39. It's priced at exactly $1,000 or 1100 euros, and the other one is Empire Years Hero. Hero is priced at $1,349, and it houses one W9 plus subwoofer or woofer driver, dynamic driver, and three BA drivers, one for mids, one for mid high, and one for highs. I don't know what's the need of two separate drivers here, mid high and highs, because it does not have that kind of linearity to it. We'll talk about that later in more details. The other IEM is Shozy Pola, priced at exactly at $1,000. This one has one dynamic driver and e-stat driver. You guys can see, I think, that electrostatic driver. It's a ES hybrid earphone, and it used to be one of my favorite IEMs back in the days when I got it in late 2019. It was the best IEM. Not exactly the best, but it was the most exciting IEM I had. It was very good. I'm not showing you guys the whole box in here because there are a lot of layers in here. So yeah, I'll not bother myself opening that up because there is a lot of stuff going in there. The box is wrapped in some cotton kind of cloth, and there are a lot of stickers and stuff in there. I'll not bother myself opening that up, but yeah, it's a very premium package, to be precise. It has a wooden case that we rarely see with IEMs. Now what I can do is I can show you guys the Empire Years case. Come on, come out. I don't know why, but I always struggle with this kind of stuff. These things do not really want to work with me. Nonetheless, this is the case. It's a pure piece of metal, very heavy, to be precise, around 300 grams. This is not light by a long shot. This is a heavy case, pure metal case. This is one of the most premium cases or heaviest cases, to be precise, one can ever get with a earphone. I do not think there are heavier cases available in the market at any price point. This is the standard of a heavy case in the market. Nevertheless, let's have a look at the cable. This is a good cable. They say Fantasy 4 and everything. It's a 4-core cable, which is pure copper, similar to the Symphonium cable here. This is a pure copper cable too, and I tried comparing the sound, and there is barely anything different about these two cables, not IEMs. There isn't a lot separating this. This one is slightly marginally mid inclined, marginally, while this has slightly better bass feel, mostly because they wanted to tune this one, this IEM, for low end grunt, while the Pola39, even though is not a mid forward IEM, is a bit more balanced. Nevertheless, let's start talking about the sound. We have talked about everything else but the sound. The Pola39 with a dynamic driver is not a very bassy IEM. It does have a dynamic driver. You guys can see clearly the dynamic driver and stuff. It's a very transparent kind of shell. It's a more of a balanced kind of IEM. It does not have that kind of punch, that kind of aggression to the bass. It is very good. No doubt about that. It has very good amount of details and texture, but it does not have that kind of grunt or feel to it. The punch is not very heavy. It's not meatier. It does not have that slam to it which the Hero has. Hero is much more punchier. It has that kind of feel, that kind of rumble, that kind of texture which is barely available with any IM in the market. It's Hero, the W9, the Weapon 9 Plus driver is just simply outstanding. It just has the layers and layers of waves coming at you, which, yes, obviously the Polar does not have. It's a more balanced, more tighter sounding IM. It does not have that kind of slowness to it. Its decay is faster. Now moving on to the mid range, I I I really feel that with the bass kind of held back, the mid is a bit more forward in the Polar. It's a very good organic sounding IM. It has that organic feel to it. It does not feel artificial or neutral even. It feels much more organic. You feel like the sound is coming from a wood box. It's very good. It's soothing, to be precise, while the mid-range of the Hero is a bit more neutralish. It does not have that kind of organic feel to it, but it does have better background transparency, a bit more clarity at the background. You are missing nothing with the Polar. uh, Let me make that clear. You will miss nothing with the Polar, but the Hero has slightly better background transparency. The background acts, the instruments in the background which are not very transparent, the Polar has slight veil to them, where the Empire's Hero is much more transparent there. Now moving on to the triple region, this one is flat. This one does not have a excited tribal region. It does have the sparkle, does have the energy. Obviously it is a EST driver, and it's not going anywhere, but the Hero has more of it, more sparkle, more energy. And that mid high driver takes the upper mid and lower treble region to a much more energetic level. I don't know why they have tuned it like that, but it does add some extra energy, extra uh, brilliance. I heard the word brilliance from a guy, and I'm using it. It adds a bit more brilliance to it. It has that kind of slight bit of sharpness to it. That transparency, that clarity feels more apparent, while the Polar is more in general. I can say the Polar is a bit more flatter here. It does not have that kind of aggression or that kind of bite to it. But when it comes to extension, both are very similar. As I said, with the mid-range, you miss nothing with any of these IMs. You do not miss a single amount of details, while the Polar is a bit more organic. It's a bit more detailed, a bit more transparent. When it comes to stage size, these are very similar to precise. Polar is slightly lacking with height, marginally lacking with height, and the Hero is much more rounded. Yeah, it's more rounded. It has evenness to everything, while the Polar is a bit more deeper, wider, and slightly lacking with the height. There is nothing wrong with the Polar, but Hero is better, better in this case at least. Now I think I covered everything. Mid-range vocals, mid-range of this is slightly more tamed, does not have a lot of excitement. The notes are much more calmer, they have that tranquility to it, while the Hero is more excited. It's more exciting too. It's more fun. It has that kind of extra energy which the Pola does not have. Now I think I touched every point comparing this to IEMs. Very good IEMs. If you have Pola, you might want to upgrade to the Hero if you feel that you want more bass and more transparency. But I do not think you really need to upgrade from Pola to Hero. You might want to look into something even more expensive, like some 2000 $2500 IM. But upgrading over the Pola is not a easy task at all, Pola 39 especially. So that's it. It's been a long video. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Enjoy.